It's finally 2023, and you know what that means? More cars are now considered legal for import into the US of A. You guys probably know that there's a 25-year-old law for importation into the US. This is in effect for all the cars, not just our beloved JDM cars. But in this video, we're going to talk about the JDM cars you should be gunning for import into the US. We're not going to talk about the mainstream JDM cars of the 90s, which everyone and their grandpa would already know, like the Supras, RX-7s, Skylines. But we're going to talk about cars that are underdogs and only a select few knew about importing. So if you wanted to import some JDM cars into the US, sit back and we're going to tell you which ones to get. The Mitsubishi Legnum VR4. A station wagon powered by a V6 twin-turbo with almost 300 horsepower from factory. This is mated with either an automatic or a manual transmission. The Legnum VR4 is Mitsubishi's answer to a sleeper wagon. The high-spec version of this car has been tinkered with by Rally Art, an in-house tuning company of Mitsubishi, and refined its all-wheel drive and all-wheel steer. As a result, it's been considered by some as one of the best 90s JDM sports wagons. Talking of 90s JDM sports wagon, next in line is the Nissan Stagea Autech version 260 RS. This is Nissan's ultimate JDM sports wagon of the 90s. It has an RB26 DETT engine, with a Tessa ETS, Nissan's all-wheel drive system, limited slip differential and same chassis components with the R33 GTR Skyline. It's basically a GTR Skyline wagon. Autech basically put all the good components of an R33 GTR Skyline and stuff it onto the Stagea body. One of the most common aesthetic enhancements of the Stagea 260 RS is an R34 GTR Skyline facelift. This is completely easy to do as the R33 and R34 GTR Skylines shared the same chassis platform. Plus, the front fascia of the R34 GTR Skyline looks at home on the Stagea. This is ultimately the best of 90s JDM sports station wagon. The Honda Accord SIR. This JDM jewel was introduced on the Japanese market in late 1997. This pretty much was the start of the Honda Accord line having a sports variant. It boasted to have a 2-litre F20B VTEC engine. Even though this is heavier compared to the legendary Civic, it did offer more interior space and a not-so-high price tag for a 90s JDM car. On top of this is the high-spec variant, which is currently not legal yet to import, offered a Recaro seats interior as standard. And before we proceed, if you want to be up to date with JDM cars, facts and trends, hit that subscribe button so you wouldn't miss out on any of our videos. Anyway, let's go back to the 1998 Mitsubishi Pajero Evo. This Pajero variant was built by Mitsubishi as a homologation for the T2 class Pajero used in the Dakar Rally. This rare variant is limited to 2,500 units only for the world to enjoy. Apart from its bulging wide body kit, the Pajero Evo was also given a 24-valve DOHC 3.5-litre V6 MIVEC engine called the 6G74. This engine made a claimed power from factory of 275 horsepower. However, this was not the case. Most tuner shops noted that it has more when they dynoed it. Together with its beefy engine, the Pajero Evo was offered with a 5-speed automatic transmission, which was tuned for endurance rally. One of the hype-up 90s JDM-era cars is the Nissan R34 Skyline. And I know we talked about not getting mainstream JDM cars, but there are Skylines you should be gunning for. By May this year, the floodgates for the Nissan Skyline R34 will be open to the United States of America. However, the R34 GTR is not yet of legal age for import. This is because they were produced from 1999. So there's technically one more year to wait for the iconic R34 GTR Skyline. In the meantime, this is what we'll get gunning for. The R34 GT and GTT Skylines, single-turbo rear-wheel drive version. Yes, both of these will be legal. These R34 Skyline variants are no slouch. Even though GTR gets most of the praise and recognition from the JDM community, the RB25 DET Neo is an engine you should not underestimate. It packs 280 horsepower from factory And since most of these engines were mated with rear-wheel drive R34 Skylines, there were less issues with engine blocks cracking. Plus, with less complicated components compared to the RB26 DETT, it means ease of maintenance, but with a huge potential for tuning. On top of that, since current prices of R34 GTR Skylines have skyrocketed beyond the stratosphere, the R34 GTT is definitely the next best thing to get. Also, before we forget, there are some rare R34 GTT, which were offered in an all-wheel drive version from Nissan, so definitely look out for those ones. Technically, this will have the same drivetrain components as an R34 GTR Skyline, but will be using an RB25 and 5-speed manual, instead of the RB26 6-speed. Speaking of GTRs, did you know that Nissan has once again decided to re-release a new version of the R35? Yes, that car again is getting refreshed, and will be released as the 2022 Nissan R35 GTR. If you want to know what makes it different to the current ones, click this video right here and we'll see you guys over there.